Treaty with the Northern Cheyenne and Northern Arapaho, May 10, 1868, ratified July 25, 1868. Articles of a treaty made and concluded at Fort Laramie, Dakota Territory, on the 10th day of May in the year of our Lord 1868, by and between the undersigned commissioners on the part of the United States and the undersigned chiefs and headmen of and representing the Northern Cheyenne and Northern Arapaho Indians, they being duly authorized to act in the premises. Article 1. From this day forward, peace between the parties to this treaty shall forever continue. The government of the U.S. desires peace, and its honor is hereby pledged to keep it. The Indians desire peace, and they hereby pledge their honor to maintain it. If bad men among the whites or among other people subject to the authority of the U.S. shall commit any wrong upon the person or property of the Indians, the U.S. will, upon proof made to the agent and forwarded to the Commissioner of Indian Affairs at Washington City, proceeded at once to cause the offender to be arrested and punished according to the laws of the U.S., and also reimburse the injured person for the loss sustained. If bad men among Indians shall commit a wrong or depredation upon the person or property of anyone white, black, or Indian subject to the authority of the U.S. and at peace therewith, the Indians herein named solemnly agree that they will, on proof made to the agent and noticed by him, deliver up the wrongdoer to the U.S. to be tried and punished according to its laws. And in case they willfully refuse so to do, the person injured shall be reimbursed for his loss from the annuities or other monies due or to become due to them under this or other treaties made with the U.S., and the President, on advising with the Commissioner of Indian Affairs, shall prescribe such rules and regulations for ascertaining damages under the provisions of this article as in his judgment may be proper. But no such damages shall be adjusted and paid until thoroughly examined and passed upon by the Commissioner of Indian Affairs, and no one sustaining loss while violating or because of his violating the provisions of this treaty or the laws of the U.S. shall be reimbursed therefor. Article 2. The Indians parties to this treaty hereby agree to accept for their permanent home some portion of the tract of country set apart and designated as a permanent reservation for the Southern Cheyenne and Arapaho Indians by treaty entered into by and between them and the U.S. at Medicine Lodge Creek on the day of October 1867, or some portion of the country and reservation set apart and designated as a permanent home for the Brule and other bands of Sioux Indians. By a treaty entered into by and between said Indians and the U.S. in Fort Laramie, Dakota Territory, on the 29th day of April, 1868, and the Northern Cheyenne and Arapaho Indians do hereby relinquish, release, and surrender to the U.S. all right, claim, and interest in, and to all territory outside the two reservations above mentioned, except the right to roam and hunt while game shall be found in sufficient quantities to justify the chase. And they do solemnly agree that they will not build any permanent homes outside of said reservations, and that within 1 year from this date they will attach themselves permanently either to the agency provided for near the mouth of Medicine Lodge Creek, or to the agency about to be established on the Missouri River near Fort Randall, or to the Crow Agency near Otter Creek on the Yellowstone River, provided for by a treaty of the 7th day of May, 1868, entered into by and between the U.S. and said Crow Indians at Fort Laramie, Dakota Territory. And it is hereby expressly understood that one portion of said Indians may attach themselves to one of the aforementioned reservations, and another portion to another of said reservations, as each part or portion of said Indians may elect. Article 3. If any individual belonging to said tribe of Indians, or legally incorporated with them, being the head of a family, shall desire to commence farming, he shall have the privilege to select, in the presence and with the assistance of the agent then in charge, a tract of land within said reservations, not exceeding 320 acres in extent, which tract, when so selected, certified, and recorded in the land book as herein directed, shall cease to be held in common. But the same may be occupied and held in the exclusive possession of the person selecting it and of his family, so long as he or they may continue to cultivate it. Any person over 18 years of age, not being the head of a family, may in like manner select and cause to be certified to him or her for purposes of cultivation a quantity of land not exceeding 80 acres in extent, and thereupon be entitled to the exclusive possession of the same as above directed. For each tract of land so selected, a certificate containing a description thereof and the name of the person selecting it, with a certificate endorsed thereon that the same has been recorded, shall be delivered to the party entitled to it by the agent after the same shall have been recorded by him in a book to be kept in his office, subject to inspection, which said book shall be known as the Northern Cheyenne and Arapaho Land Book. The President may at any time order a survey of the reservation, and when so surveyed, Congress shall provide for protecting the rights of settlers and their improvements, and may fix the character of the title held by each. The U.S. may pass such laws on the subject of alienation and descent of property as between Indians, and on all subjects connected with the government of the Indians on said reservations and the internal place thereof as may be thought proper. Article 4. In order to ensure the civilization of the tribe entering into this treaty, the necessity of education is admitted, especially by such of them as are or may be settled on said agricultural reservation, and they therefore pledge themselves to compel their children, male and female, between the ages of 6 and 16 years to attend school, and it is hereby made the duty of the agent for said Indians to see the stipulation is strictly complied with, and the U.S. agrees that for every 30 children between said ages who can be induced or compelled to attend school, a house shall be provided, a teacher competent to teach the elementary branches of English education shall be furnished, who will reside among said Indians and faithfully discharge his or her duties as a teacher. The provisions of this article to continue for 20 years. Article 5. When the head of a family or lodge shall have selected lands and received his certificate as above directed, and the agent shall be satisfied that he intends in good faith to commence cultivating the soil for a living, he shall be entitled to receive seeds and agricultural implements for the first year in value $100, and for each succeeding year he shall continue to farm for a period of 3 years. More, he shall be entitled to receive seeds and implements as aforesaid in value $25 per annum. And it is further stipulated that such persons as commence farming shall receive instructions from the farmer herein provided for, and whenever more than 100 persons shall enter upon the cultivation of the soil, a second blacksmith shall be provided with such iron, steel, and other material as may be needed. Article 6. In lieu of all sums of money or other annuities provided to be paid to Indians here named under any and all treaties heretofore made with them, the U.S. agrees to deliver at the agency house on the reservation herein provided for, on the first day of September of each year for 30 years, the following articles, to wit: for each male person over 14 years of age, a suit of good substantial woolen clothing consisting of a coat, hat, pantaloons, flannel shirt, and pair of woolen socks. For each female over 12 years of age, a flannel skirt or the goods necessary to make it, a pair of woolen hose, 12 yards of calico, and 12 yards of cotton domestics. For the boys and girls under the ages named, such flannel and cotton goods as may be needed to make each a suit as aforesaid, together with a pair of woolen hose for each. And in order that the Commissioner of Indian Affairs may be able to estimate properly for the articles here named, it shall be the duty of the agent each year to forward to him a full and exact census of Indians on which the estimates from year to year can be based. And in addition to the clothing here named, the sum of $10 shall be annually appropriated for each Indian roaming, and $20 for each Indian engaged in agriculture for a period of 10 years, to be used by the Secretary of Interior in the purchase of such articles as from time to time the condition and necessities of Indians may indicate to be proper. And if at any time within the 10 years it shall appear that the amount of money needed for clothing under this article can be appropriated to better uses for the tribes here named, Congress may by law change appropriation to other purposes. But in no event shall the amount of this appropriation be withdrawn or discontinued for the period named. And the President shall annually detail an officer of the army to be present and attest the delivery of all the goods here named to the Indians, and he shall inspect and report on the quantity and quality of the goods and the manner of their delivery. And it is expressly stipulated that each Indian over the age of 4 years who shall have removed to and settled permanently upon said reservation and complied with the stipulations of this treaty shall be entitled to receive from the U.S. for the period of 4 years after he shall have settled upon said reservation 1 pound of meat and 1 pound of flour per day, provided that Indians cannot furnish their own subsistence at an earlier date. And it is further stipulated that the U.S. will furnish and deliver to each lodge of Indians or family of persons legally incorporated with them who shall remove to the reservation herein described and commence farming 1 good American cow and 1 well-broken pair of American oxen within 60 days after such lodge or family shall have so settled upon said reservation. Article 7. The U.S. hereby agrees to furnish annually to Indians who settle upon the reservation a physician, teachers, carpenter, miller, engineer, farmer, and blacksmith as herein contemplated, and that such appropriation shall be made from time to time on the estimates of the Secretary of Interior as will be sufficient to employ such persons. Article 8. No treaty for the cession of any portion of the reservation herein described which may be held in common shall be of any force or validity as against the said Indians unless executed and signed by at least a majority of all the adult male Indians occupying or interested in the same, and no cession by the tribe shall be understood or construed in such manner as to deprive without his consent any individual member of the tribe of his right to any tract of land selected by him as herein provided. Article 9. It is agreed that the sum of $500 annually for 3 years from the date when they commence to cultivated farm, shall be expended in presents to the 10 persons of said tribe, who in the judgment of the agent may grow the most valuable crops for the respective year. W.T. Sherman, Lieutenant General. William S. Harney, Brevet Major General, U.S. Army. Alfred H. Terry, Brevet Major General. C.C. Auger, Brevet Major General. John B. Sanborn, S.F. Tappan, Commissioners. Attest Ashton, S.H. White, Secretary. Watana, Black Bear, his ex-mark. Batache, Medicine Man, his ex-mark. Okamgache, Little Wolf, his ex-mark. Ichita'in, Short Hair, his ex-mark. Nanesebe, Sorrel Horse, his ex-mark. Katu Nun, the Underman, his ex-mark. Achi'awa, the Man in the Sky, his ex-mark. Wi'a'evos, the Big Wolf, his ex-mark. Chasne'ane'a, the Bow, his ex-mark. Matanaweta, the Man that falls from his horse, his ex-mark. Oenaku, White Crow, his ex-mark. Achakenkut Uni, Little Shield, his ex-mark. Tamaila Pashmi, or Dull Knife, his ex-mark. Attest George B. Willis, phonographer. David Knox, Charles Freeman, Jason C. O'Connor, John D. Howland, Alex Gardner.